a Dyson DC49. The first, I think, mains powered digital motored vacuum cleaner that Dyson ever made. This one, however, doesn't work. Today we are going to find out one way or another if it will survive or if it is scrap. Yes, hello my vacuum cleaner chums. How are you today? This is a tiny little vacuum cleaner. In fact, it's the same size as my Dyson DC46. It's also the same design as that. It's the same size as the DC26 City. This would have been Dyson's teeny tiny little vacuum cleaner for small flats. This one's in very good physical condition. I've even got the hose with its connector that fits underneath the machine, like so. I have the two small tools that they would have come with, and I have the air-driven turbo nozzle. It's all very lovely, but of course it doesn't work. And as you may have seen from my channel, Instagram and whatnot, Facebook, I have two of these. This one is a lot more bit apart. I've chucked all the screws back in it. Look, here's the cord reel from it. Here's the two ball bits and the top of the motor. Because as you see before on my V10 videos, this is the motor that came out of this machine. Apparently they were thunderously common for it. Like very, very issue they had there indeed. So I think that's probably going to be the problem with this one, but we won't know until we take it apart. So I'm going to attempt to bring you with me whilst I take this apart. It's not a simple machine at all, and it's been a while now since I did this one, so I have to go with the flow a little bit here, and there might be some cutting and whatnot of the camera. But yeah, in here we need to see if it's got the same problem as this. Let's get it started. Of course, it could be something as simple as the fuse, and we would be very silly, especially knowing how awful these things are, to take apart, to not check that first. So we shall set ours to continuity. Nothing wrong with the fuse. So that cord reel over there does work. The other one, I did test that, so I know we have a working flex. Oh, why won't you go in? Oh, the fuse isn't going into the holder. That's not going to be helping matters, but I think it is contacting the plug, the pins, so I don't think that's the problem. We shall care about that later. So we'll take off. This thing needs so much disassembly. It is unreal. So much needs to come apart on this thing. This isn't a how-to video, folks. If you've got one of these, you can buy motors. They cost a lot of money. I did look. I gotta look what comes off next, because it's not as simple as just lifting off the whole top. There are hidden screws galore. So we'll take out the post motor filter, and again, you see, you can't really tell if it's burnt out or not, because it's a digital motor. It won't have filled that full of carbon dust like it would have done otherwise. God, this thing's full of plasters. Right, we actually need to take off all of these smaller screws here, because there's some screws for the motor housing hidden underneath this bit. So we'll take out all of these screws. theory, this bit just pops out like so, because it's those two screws that we need to get to. I'm just going to put all of these tiny little screws into there. Because I'm not using a screw card for this, I'm going to attempt to remember how I did it before. But I think we're close now. I don't think there is something else that's got to come off, because I had to do it on the other one. And I did actually crack it. This back vent has to come off. And it's a right pain. Because again, there's two screws underneath it. And it's in very tight. There we go. Oh, right, that one didn't break, so that's good. So that comes off, and then we can see the two hidden screws underneath there. I don't think Dyson wanted you to go into this. I mean, I know that they have form for not wanting you to go into anything of theirs. But this is something else. So we're going to start to take off all the screws and hope that they're not too different. And we'll see if we can get into this thing. Eventually, it all releases itself rather less easily than perhaps it might. Gonna be interesting getting this thing back together. And I think we can feed the plug through here. Sure, that's what I did before. Yep, there we go. But the problem is the cable rewind is loose, so I need to go get a cable tie and make it not loose. And the way to do that is to feed the cable tie through both sides and then do it up, and then it won't turn anymore. There we go. And that will now sit there quite happily whilst I remember how the next bit works, because again, more has to come out now. We've got, these are all of the screws that took this bit off. In fact, we'll pop those in it. There's more. There's one down here. Another one down here. I'm sure there was another one as well, but there may actually not be. Told you this wasn't a full-on instructional doobie. I think that must be it now. Because what we've done is we've released that air duct. Ah, no, there is one more. We can see it now. Ha 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 ha. There we go. If this works, then there'll be a full thread, because it'll get fully refurbished. This is just the, does it work? There's no point of refurbishing it if it's scrap. Aha! There we go. Then the motor comes out at the bottom of the chassis. This is the whole caboodle. This is the entire thing, the whole unit. We take out this screw here. We can take the entire cord reel off and see the contacts within. So before we go too much further, we shall just probe the cable itself, because obviously hopefully that snapped, and that'll be great to see. Now we have good continuity across the cord reel itself. As I thought, we'll just pop the cord reel's screw back in there and pop that off to the side where, oh crikey, we need to now look at this. And we'll start by taking the switch off. The switch is tiny on this thing. Utterly delicate. Titchy. Even. There it is, look, it's a little micro switch. Little momentary micro switch on there. I see, all sort of comes and goes everywhere really. It's very strange. It's all got to come off to get the motor off. The next thing is going to be this, and I've seen the older cylinders have this sort of random metal tab as well, whether it's a grounding tab or a sensor. But I've seen it on things like DC08s, I think, and they don't have any sensors at all. Now this white bit, this clear bit comes off now. I know it comes off because I've had it off on the other one. I can't remember if it snapped off or if it pulled off. That's the only real issue I'm having. I don't fully want to break it, but it's got to come off. Does it have to come off? Hang on. No, it may not have to come off. Where are we? Black to black, white to white. Remember that, folks. Oh, they're big, meaty spade connectors. They're bigger than anything else I've seen on Dysons. And if we now unpick the cable, we should actually be able to, yeah, there we go, look, we can now get to the back screws and take off. God, I keep getting the bigger screwdriver. It's the smaller torque screwdriver. Don't know what size though. Ooh. I think that's it, and we can now separate. See, this one's had a lot of DIY use. We can separate that and push through the cables, because I think they're going to pull out from the inside, and push through this one as well, so we can pull the housing back and see how to disconnect everything. Being ever so careful of that flipping power switch. Oh, little tiny plug. There we go. So that's the power switch disconnected. And the motor itself unwired. This is what one looks like before you break off the plastic cap from inside. Oh, I remember this bit being horrible. We'll take off this sponge thing. Yeah. That seam plaster dust. It's certainly not talcum powder. Maybe it's cocaine. If I suddenly start going weird, you'll know. Now this big rubber thing's got to come off everything. And it's really tight. Ow. Although aided a little bit by all of this dust, because it's not sticking, this is going to be a complete git to get on once it's washed. That's for absolute sure. There we go. Now we can see the motor, or what the motor looks like with that black top bit on. And if you are of a disposition who doesn't like to see me break things, do look away now, because there is no other way. Sadly, because they sonic welded it on, so you just got to go around. It will snap. It just has there, but you ease yourself around, being ever so careful to not rip anything off of the PCB, just in case it's okay, and you know, it is something else. And lo and behold, this one's got a massive scorch mark on it as well. Not quite as bad as the other one, it must be said, but it's in exactly the same area. Exactly the same area. Same chips, although, yeah, not quite as violent. Which is interesting, isn't it? Problem is, though, I have no idea how to lift this circuit board, because there's a lot of things soldered to the back of it, so I'm not quite sure how to proceed here. I may have a go, certainly, of at least cleaning it up. I don't think I'll be able to lift the board, because I can see many solder points, and I think that's going to be my downfall, and I can't see anything else, but yeah, it's certainly been on fire. Some time has passed, and I probably should have turned the camera back on, but I got a little bit carried away. This is the board from, why are you over there? From the other motor, the really burnt out one. You just unsolder the 4 tabs here, although I did rip them out because I'm not very good at doing this sort of thing. This is it, look. If you notice, look, it's now missing its chip from that side. There's the burnt chip. There's the OK chip. These are the coils from inside the motor. This is the big coil from inside the motor. Look at that. And we have the plastic casings and the rotor, the bit that creates all of the suction. Look at that. And yes, this is the old broken motor, the really exploded one. What I've just done with the aid of a Dremel Versatip, I'm hoping it will work, is cleaned the board up and soldered the decent, come on, focus. Ooh, there we go. Soldered the decent R030 chip onto there, because that was the only thing that looked blown. Everything else seems okay, and there's only really one thing left for me to do now, and I'll do it off camera because this video's gone on for long enough, and yeah, need to get it back together. I'm going to now assemble this whole flipping thing properly. I can only really tape that back onto there, that'll be fine. It's not really meant for much more. Wrestle this stupid thing back on, and yeah, see if it explodes or runs okay. And here we are, together enough to see if it's going to explode in a angry fireball or if it's going to run absolutely fine. I really don't know. I'm not really expecting much. Haven't put the cable rewind back in properly. It seems to have jammed, but again, for this test fire, it's okay. And sadly, I'm going to have to come close and turn it on because it hasn't got a proper switch. Oh, I don't like getting this close to these. Nope. It's dead. Oh, all that for nothing. Oh, blimey, I don't think it... Not having the cyclone on is not going to make a jot of difference. I can hear... the switch clickering. And I'm afraid that our Dyson DC49 is dead. Worth a try, but no, there will be something else on the board that's in the machine that is cooked, and I do not have enough experience or knowledge to know that if it's not that which we replaced, maybe I killed it replacing it. Obviously I didn't use the correct tools, but no, I'm afraid we've got a failure. So I don't know if I'll keep one of these. The motors are £100 and there's only one on eBay. I can get them for £70 trade, but I'm not sure if I really want to, because one of these is going to come along one day that works and we can revisit this and be able to do something. So I'm going to keep all the tools, and I think the rest of these are all just going to go in the bin. So yeah, I'm afraid we didn't win this time, folks, but thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed, and if I have any brainwaves, I shall let you know, but otherwise I will see you soon. Bye bye.